right now on 5 on your side at 10.
We begin at 10 in Storm Alert. You're taking a look at a downpour in Arnold. Tonight, we're tracking the latest from this surge as it moves eastward. And if you take a look at your screen right now, that radar is still showing us some storms tonight. South of the metro, we've seen downpours, strong wind gusts, lightning, and hail. And the storms could stick with us through early tomorrow morning. Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Brent Solomon. Let's turn things over to meteorologist Jim Casillo. Jim, you're tracking all of this for us. It could be a long night.
Yeah, we're expecting to stay here till the threat's over. But, the good news is we have not had a severe thunderstorm warning in any of these cells. One strong wind gust around Steelville, Missouri did get up to about 54 miles an hour. And boy, that lightning has been really intense, as many of you know, whether you've seen it to your south or east or whether you've been in the middle of these storms. So again, no tornado warnings, haven't seen a lot of rotation, which is great because that was a potential. And here comes that front. Now, north of this front, St. Louis northward to Troy, and we haven't seen anything, which is fantastic. But to the south, we've had that lightning, and Jefferson County, definitely lightning and thunder, and we're finally starting to see that kind of weaken quite a bit as it moves toward the Sparta area and also Sullivan. Let's zoom in a little bit and show you New Athens and Waterloo. Still some rain, still some thunder and lightning, even in the Sparta. That's been sub-severe, and it's been weakening. And then you get to Potosi. We've had some really intense cells around this area. Now the strongest one was in Steelville, is dropping down to Viburnum. Just hundreds of strikes here, and of course very heavy rain. And then we'll zoom in a little bit further. Lesterville to Fredericktown, some showers and storms, but that cell right around Viburnum is the strongest one so far. Now, it was up around Steelville, so that's where we have a flood advisory until about 12:15 for central Crawford County. We've had 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain in this area. So these cells have been intense. Severe thunderstorm watch continues for our southern counties until 1 a.m. and that potential for flash flooding for our southern counties also all the way through tomorrow morning. I'll have much more on the forecast and when this all gets out of here coming up in just a few minutes. Brent.
Yep, we'll want to hear that. Thank you, Jim. New tonight, people in Jennings reacting to the news that we brought you earlier this evening. Police are investigating after a deadly shooting killed one man and left 4 others hurt. Our Annie Krall returned to that popular park today where the shooting happened. Annie, what are you learning?
Brent, it happened in Kenneman Park around 5 p.m. yesterday. Today, there were families out for walks, barbecuing, and young people playing basketball. And they told me you'd never know there was a fatal shooting there less than 24 hours before.
Like it just happens, and then nobody talks about it. It just goes up under the rug. They just sweep it up under the sheets, and it's just another day, I guess, huh?
Local basketball and football players like Michael Williams playing with friends, including Jordan Taylor, Saturday afternoon. No trace of the night before's shooting near Kenneman Park, killing 1 person and injuring 4 others.
I don't really see it, but at the same time, I mean, St. Louis is a pretty crazy place all the time.
People like me, we go to the park to have fun. What if the parents now they can't go outside and have fun anymore because, they got to worry about, maybe being shot or catching a stray bullet or something. So it's definitely sad. My number one thing is definitely about the kids.
Dwayne Willis is unsure how to make the violence stop.
I feel like it's something we can't control, but how long will it take for us to really stop it is like, I don't think it'll ever happen. But it's just real sad to me how our young people is getting taken away from stuff like this.
But community leaders are trying to help end this constant cycle within hours of the Jennings Park shooting.
We believe in boots to the ground, working with families who are closest to the pain, who have been impacted.
Gun violence awareness advocates and politicians gathering at City Hall Friday night to talk about how to save young people, talking to us as gunshots go off in the background. And police sirens whirl by shortly after.
At the rate we're going, we don't know what that looks like for our communities. Is very heartbreaking, very.
Former Jennings Mayor Yolanda Fountain Henderson says she's even more upset this happened at the park. So is the current mayor, Gary Johnson.
I overheard a couple of people saying they were ducking, and we had an event that was about to take place, an art event, and it had to be canceled.
Don't wait until something happens to you. Be proactive and get in the community. Maybe your involvement saves a life. Your involvement saves a situation.
St. Louis County Police are still investigating suspects in Friday evening's park shooting and details about the victims. Senator Angela Walton Mosley and other gun violence awareness advocates are hosting a Stop the Gun Violence town hall at 6 p.m. June 20th at West Side Missionary Baptist Church. Brent?
So glad to see all of those leaders coming together. Annie, thank you. Just a few hours ago, we learned a woman is now arrested facing charges after a man was killed in his Velda City apartment. Officers showed up to the scene here around 8 last night. They found 31-year-old Jordan Armstrong dead. Police tell us they arrested Lenora Arnold. She's accused of breaking into the apartment with the intent to steal. That's when police say she found and killed Armstrong. Right now, Arnold is facing murder, weapons, and burglary charges. She's being held on a $500,000 bond. Tonight, a man is in custody for firing shots at police in North City. It happened near Palm and Knapp Streets around 7 this evening. Police say the shooter struck the front of their windshield. Police did not return fire. They recovered the gun from the scene. The officers were not hurt. Right now, a man is in custody after police say he killed his two brothers in Illinois. Highland Park Police put out a nationwide warrant for Jeffrey Alsweck. Yesterday, the National Park Service spotted him at the Arch and notified St. Louis police. Alsweck's brothers were found shot inside of their mother's burning home near Chicago. He will stay in local custody as he awaits his day in court. Earlier today, first responders joining forces to prepare for a disaster. Let's take a look at the scene at St. Louis Lambert International Airport. This practice drill simulated what would happen if an airplane sucks in a drone during takeoff and then catches fire. More than 60 volunteers participated, including firefighters and staff from the Department of Mental Health.
It takes a team effort throughout the airport to really understand how this operates and how we all fit together and everybody plays their roles. But every 3 years we hold a full-scale exercise with the simulated aircraft to really get everybody on the same page and to go through all the procedures.
The drill comes as airports across the country have had concerns about drones entering their airspace. Recently, an unidentified drone was spotted at Lambert, nearly shutting down the airport. The month of June is Pride Month, and the Missouri History Museum is celebrating with a new exhibit called Gateway to Pride. It's the first major exhibit about LGBTQ+ history in the St. Louis area. According to the museum, it's taken nearly a decade to create. It features images, testimonies, and artifacts highlighting local stories of LGBTQ+ people all across the last century. Those stories span from politics to religion to sports.
Learning these stories of the people and places like the Central West End or Lafayette Square or North City that you may see and you may be in every day, learning more about these adds texture to your life and a deeper understanding of St. Louis, this place we call home.
Tomorrow, the museum will host a concert from 2 until 4 p.m. featuring LGBTQ artists. The exhibit will run for more than a year.
4 hostages rescued in Gaza.
And we expect Hamas to release them all. But if they don't, we'll do whatever it takes to get them all back home.
Israel's prime minister vowing to rescue even more. How Palestine is responding tonight. Swindled out of thousands of dollars.
Something's got to be done, that these people just can't take money from people and just run off. It's very harmful.
Locals say a contractor defrauded them. Now they're on a quest to get their money back.
And we continue in storm alert. The strongest storm right now, Viburnum, Missouri to Bixby. A lot of heavy rain, lightning, and also some strong gusty wind just below severe limits. Watching this move through northern Iron County into Reynolds County. Much more in our forecast coming up. And our first severe thunderstorm warning. This just popped. That same cell I was just looking at, Viburnum to Bixby, Missouri, and all the way into heads up Lesterville, because this has not only tons of lightning with it, but very heavy rain and the potential of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And we saw that wind really picking up within that core of the storm as it moves south-southeast through Iron and also northern Reynolds County. And again, a severe thunderstorm warning there until 11:15. I'll have much more on our forecast coming up. Brent?
All right, Jim, stay close. Earlier today, Israeli forces rescued 4 hostages held in central Gaza by Hamas. They were kidnapped from the Nova Music Festival back in October. Palestinian officials say the rescue mission killed more than 200 people, including children. But Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met the rescued hostages at a hospital near Tel Aviv. He's pledged to bring back every other hostage held. President Biden, along with French President Emmanuel Macron, welcomed the rescue operation.
I want to echo President Macron's comments welcoming the safe rescue of 4 hostages that were returned to their families in Israel. We won't stop working until all the hostages come home and a ceasefire is reached. That is essential to happen.
116 hostages still remain in Gaza. About 41 are believed to be dead.
And Brent, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning for Reynolds County, part of Iron County. So heads up, Lesterville, it's right on top of you. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder, wind gusts possibly as high as 60 miles an hour. And Annapolis, heads up, it is also sliding your way. Much more in our forecast coming up.
Well, imagine trusting a contractor to improve your home, only to find out you've been swindled out of thousands. That's the harsh reality for several homeowners in our area. Senior investigative reporter Paula Vassan hears from victims who want action.
We put half a deposit down.
It's been 4 long years of struggle for Dan Andres,
Then he never came back.
a homeowner from Hazelwood. The I-Team sat down with him when the nightmare started, after he hired a contractor, believing his false claims of being a former police chief. That trust ended up costing him thousands.
He took $7,784.50.
Do you think you'll ever get that money back?
I think it's highly doubtful. And the guy committed fraud, and it's just not right.
He's talking about contractor Mike Shaw, who pleaded guilty to fraud and stealing from clients. He says the court ordered him to repay clients through the Missouri Attorney General's office. But Andres has seen only about 10% of what he's owed. The I-Team spoke with others who have gotten far less.
Something's got to be done, that these people just can't take money from people and just run off. It's very harmful.
We reached out to the Missouri Attorney General's office to find out if Shaw is still working as a contractor. No response by our deadline. Andres and other victims tell the I-Team Shaw changed his business name and moved locations to evade accountability. They say it's how he's been able to deceive and cover his tracks.
He's hard to find, so it's a tough deal.
Andres, a 71-year-old grandfather, works part-time as a baseball umpire to make ends meet. He says he wants more time with his grandchildren, not a legal battle.
We should be able to garnish his wages or something from his house. It just can't keep happening, you know.
The I-Team tried getting in touch with the contractor directly. We did not hear back. Meanwhile, Andres tells us he is not giving up. He's pushing for more stringent regulations to prevent others from falling victim. For the I-Team, Paula Vassan, 5 on your side.
Let's hear it one more time for these inspiring members of our Coleman family.
This morning, hundreds packing Tower Grove Park, decked out in pink for the Suman G. Komen More Than Pink Walk. The annual walk raises money for breast cancer research, screening, and care, and many brave the rain to honor their loved ones. 5 on your side's Kay Quinn served as MC today. Time now to get back to your forecast, and of course we are in storm alert. Jim Castillo's all over it. What are you seeing right now, Jim?
Yeah, hi, Brent. So we are watching the most intense cell now. Most of Iron County under a severe thunderstorm warning until 11:15, and then it's really a slice of Reynolds County, but it's going right into Lesterville. And so within this cell, we've had extremely heavy rainfall. Back when it was in Crawford County, 1.5 to 2 inches of rainfall in a very short period of time, hundreds of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, and some of the wind gusts as high as 60 miles an hour. And so that will cause some wind damage, maybe even some roof damage, and power might be knocked out also, with this cell continuing to be very intense as it moves into Lesterville. Annapolis is right here. You're under that warning. You can probably see that lightning just to your north and west, and it is dropping right down into your area. So stay inside, away from windows. No rotation with that, not expecting any tornadoes. But that frontal boundary is right to the north of Festus, and we're seeing a little bit more new development right here, just to the south of Sullivan, all the way south of Festus, and even around Sparta. So we'll have to wait until this front drops through the area, and then we'll start to stabilize quite a bit. But even the storms around New Athens have weakened over the last hour here. But the cells are again around just to the south are pretty intense still. Here's that flood advisory till 12:15 for central Crawford County. That's where we've had some really heavy rain. That same cell moving into Iron and Reynolds County. And that big cluster continues to dive to the south. You know, what's happened is we are seeing most of that storm activity again in our southern counties, but watch what goes on later on tonight. Stays down to the south until morning, and then that chance of rain showers, maybe even up to St. Louis. Not expecting the morning rain to be severe, but still a chance of rain in the morning hours. Then it gets out of here. We'll see a partly sunny afternoon and a beautiful Sunday and cooler. But we have trimmed this severe thunderstorm watch. The areas that are now still underneath it: Phelps County, Reynolds, Iron, and Madison County. Otherwise, everybody else is free from the watch, except for the flash flood watch, which is still in effect in these areas for that possibility of seeing training of showers and storms. All right, 88 for that high today. We had the heat, we had the humidity, the dew point way up there, 69 for the low. We're still at 82 in St. Louis, a dew point 70, so the humidity is very high. And just looking south and west, you know, that intense lightning we saw from St. Louis to the south. Didn't have any storms here in St. Louis, but boy, you could see that lightning for sure. It was very intense there as it moved through Jefferson County and into Monroe County, Illinois. Lows tonight dropping into the 60s. Real quickly, the 10-day forecast. We are rain-free Monday through next weekend, and we'll jump into the 90s by Thursday.
Yeah, we just got to get through this little episode right now.
Yes,
Thank
it's
you
going to be a
much.
long night.
Yep, yeah, well, thank you for your hard work. All right, we've got Holden standing by with some sports for us.
That's right, Brent. It was a big night in St. Louis sports. The Cardinals and City in action at home, but would they send their fans home with a smile? I'll have the answers next in sports.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
Coming into the night, City SC has played 16 games and picked up 18 points. It's a far cry from last season's pace, but there's no time like the present to turn the tables on 9th place Portland, which sits 3 points ahead of the City Reds. To City Park we go, where it was yet another sellout. We're going to pick things up in the 15th minute. City with the corner. The ball gets into the box, and Tim Parker gets a clean look. He just sends it wide, and he can't believe it. Fast forward to the 73rd minute. Edward Lowen, he gets a free kick. It goes over the wall and hits the post. Parker again with the clean look. How does that not go in? We got to take a second look. You're not going to get any more open than that, but the defender comes out of nowhere at the last second there to keep it tied. Fast forward to extra time now. City gets the ball in the box, but it goes nowhere. This game ends in a 0-0 draw.
Last year we lose these ones, right? So I still see us, without sugarcoating anything, still see us as a group taking steps forward. And we're looking positively right now, because I see so many good things. And I'm expecting things to turn 100%.
The Cardinals and Rockies were in action today at Busch, and Colorado shortstop Ezekiel Tovar had himself a day. This homer made it 2-0 Rockies in the 6th. Colorado would lead 3-0 in the bottom of the inning when Paul Goldschmidt hits a double play ball to first, but the first baseman throws it into left field. That's going to clear the bases. The Cardinals would actually take a 4-3 lead after 6, but in the 7th, mama, here comes that man again. It's going to be Tovar. Watch as he just absolutely unloads on another ball. It's his second homer of the day. He had 4 hits on the day. That gives Colorado the 6-4 lead. The Cardinals would tack on a run, but it wouldn't be enough as the Rockies hold on for the 6-5 win.
Defense has not been good. Gibby did a really nice job of pitching through some noise today, that's for sure. I mean, he was phenomenal of making the next pitch and just staying in the moment, making the next pitch. Some guys would have caved there, and it would have been a much different game where we would have been out of it much earlier.
Speaking of the Cardinals defense, it's no secret that it slipped a bit over the past few weeks, so we called in the Wizard. Sunday night on Sports Plus, Corey Miller takes the field with one of the greatest defensive players to ever play the game in Ozzie Smith, and he shows us that some things just never change.
Right now, don't worry about range, don't worry about arm. The hands still look major league ready. Does that ever go away?
Well, no, not really. You know, I had somebody ask me the other day, they said, if you played today, you know, how would you rank? I said, oh, I'd probably be in the top 5, but hell, I'm 70 years old.
Now, before settling in to watch Sports Plus tomorrow night, you should head over to the Dome as the Battlehawks take on the San Antonio Brahmas in the XFL Conference Championship game. The winner gets a date with the Birmingham Stallions in the UFL Championship game, which will be played right here in St. Louis. Head coach Anthony Beck says his team needs 40,000 plus in the stands tomorrow.
The way that we can celebrate this thing is just showing up, right? I think sometimes that quality is tough for folks, and we've really set the bar when you're talking about showing up, the fan base, and coming to the game. And I know there's a lot of other choices and great things to do in St. Louis and other sports teams, and you know this thing's winding down now, so it's that last push to really get that building rocking.
That's all for sports, Brett.
All right, it's going to be a celebration.
Yep.
That's all of our time at 10. Folks, we appreciate the company. Saturday Night Live is next. Kick off your morning with Today in St. Louis at 6 a.m.